Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. My name is Joe, that is Stephen Howson, and we are looking at whether it is time, Steve, to scrap VAR.
Stop you there.
Go on.
Yeah.
Do you think it is? Because originally, what were your takes on it? I've got some examples. I want to go through some of the decisions we've seen this season and get into some specifics. But when VAR first came in, what did you make of it? Were you for it? Did you like it to start with?
No, because I'm a rugby league fan, and what I saw in rugby league has kind of happened. Sort of not. It's not really the same because decisions aren't always. They're not really decided in the same way they are in rugby. Okay. But what I saw in rugby league was a straightforward, that's a try.
Yeah.
They go, let me just check the video, rather than just giving it. And you go, and the fundamental reason I would say get rid of VAR is because it has ruined the experience of football.
Yeah.
And I would say the demand for this incredible accuracy, it's only like the butterfly effect of you getting an incorrect free kick in your half or an incorrect throw-in at the wrong time in a game, and you go and concede or you score from those things are equally as important as whether or not this guy was offside, whether or not that was a foul in the box. And there's no desire to be accurate with throw-ins and stuff in the other, or if they're not resulting in a direct goal. And I think for me, that's fundamentally wrong. So if you're not having, you can't be like, we are incredibly accurate and I'll just take care of itself. Like that can't be right. You have to either have it's all accurate, or we accept the human errors that referees are going to make. But yeah, fundamentally, I didn't want it coming in because I sort of anticipated what are general straightforward decisions now get referred to a video referee because that's what happened in rugby, and actually I didn't anticipate how much it would take away that spontaneous moment. I'm going to be honest, Joe, the only reason that we're going to football is for the goals.
I know.
Really, I mean, yes, I like tactics. Yes, I like intelligent football, but I have never fucking hugged a stranger on a throw-in. No. And this is, I said this the other day to Jay on the podcast, but anything that tampers with the ability to celebrate a goal has to be considered and reviewed constantly. If something's going to come in that changes my ability to celebrate when my team scores and wins, you have to be so careful with how you do that. And really, almost nothing should interfere with that. Like the idea that you feel like you can't celebrate goals, to me is just an absolute no-go. It'll kill the game.
Yeah, if it does that, it cannot work. And you talk about accuracy. I've got a couple of examples, obviously. Already this season, a third of the way through the season, not even a quarter of the way through, we've seen countless apologies from PGMOL. We've also now seen this trend of the audio being released as though that's going to do anything. I mean, I understand you want transparency, but if it's not being released in the moment, in order to make decisions better, it's sort of this like, oh, we'll release that and that'll make fans feel better. I don't quite get what benefit we get from that. We've seen Klopp asking for games to be replayed. I mean, I
think he was tongue-in-cheek when he said that, but we did see it.
Yeah. And obviously there's a list of games that you might want replaying if you're
2005 Champions League final. Let's talk about how far off his fucking line Dudek was.
Yeah, Dudek was basically in touching distance of the penalty spot when the shots were being taken. That Pirlo.
Should we start there?
Particular. Well, I mean, even before that, United against Porto, obviously Paul Scholes well onside. There's so many, and the problem is that we're trying to get rid of human error with VAR, but instead we're just bringing in a different human error. Do you think that we could maybe move towards a point where the entire thing is automated? There's no one in the booth. It's literally AI.
Didn't they use that at one of the World Cups?
Well, we see it in the Champions League, don't we? This sort of semi-automated offside where you just see the blue man and the other blue man, and there's a line drawn, and it's pretty clear. But the Premier League didn't want it. Do you think that's one way to kind of keep it?
I think, and I mentioned this I think on our podcast, fat lines for all.
Yeah,
is what I think we should have, and I think you should have an actual it can be 8 inches, 10 inches either side of that very accurate line. If the players are within that line, it's not quite daylight, but when they draw those two lines and they get the 2 points and they go, yep, his armpit hair puts him offside. Right, well, the spirit of the offside rule is unfair advantage.
Yeah.
Those are two level individuals.
Yeah.
Right? So let's have it right. If you're like that, you're level, right?
Yeah.
So if you're level, there is no unfair advantage, play on. Now, I would draw it like a really, really fat line, almost like the width of a torso or the depth of a torso, if you like, rather than the width of a torso. Something like that, because if you are that far in front, there's a bit of an advantage there. So, okay. But let's have attack in favour, shall we? Let's have a little bit of benefit of doubt to the attacker. Let's have a big fat line, and you can go in it or out of it. And you go, okay, if them two lines are touching, there is no advantage. You are level, and that's a goal. Yeah. And I think you can have that semi-automated where because it sees where the two edges are, and then if you expand on that, like I said, 10 inches, 12 inches, do it in mils if you want, whatever it is, a decent, a fat line, if you like, just a decently sized fat line, and give them a margin of error, because this intense accuracy, I don't see it on the other side of the ball.
No.
Because actually no one can tell you, and you've seen that Swedish team that have found the loophole in when a ball was played. Yeah. Because actually when it leaves the foot, it's when it starts to touch the foot, when it leaves the foot. So you could scoop a ball up, hold it on your foot, someone could run offside, you flick it to them in all one motion, and that's onside. So they're incredibly accurate and getting down to the pixel on one side, and then they're not accurate on the other. And the way it was brought in, it was meant to be brought in for, and I already know the argument to this, is offside can't be a clear and obvious error. It's a binary yes on or off thing. But it was meant to be brought in for when the IFAB's president said, if you're zooming in on pixels, you're doing it wrong. Yeah. You're meant to be able to, at arm's length, look at a monitor and go,
yeah, got that one wrong there. Made a mistake there.
And I think it should be running in the background. I would like to see an automated with a fat line, margin of error, running in the background, and only interrupt the referee like a linesman would. Yeah. Don't just refer it as a matter of course. No. If the Scott McTominay one, he touches the keeper.
The free kick that we saw
that's
in the week.
Not a foul, right? Yeah. That is touching the goalkeeper. And if you're watching that in real time, and the fact that you have to show 10 replays and then try and explain to me why it's a foul, but it's not a foul.
Yeah, well, they said offside in the end, didn't they?
Oh, is that what it ended up being?
So that would end up being. At first, they were looking for a foul. They couldn't find it.
But that brings the people then go, well, this is corrupt. Yeah. Because if you're looking for something in that sense, then it's corrupt. I mean, was he offside?
He was offside. And he was touching the keeper. So by that metric, it was. But it was, like you said, it's like it started with, we know it's been disallowed.
So hang on, are they saying he interfered?
Yeah. Again, the problem is, because so many of the rules are up to human interpretation, are you interfering or not? Was it deliberate or not? Did you stop a goal scoring opportunity or not? Some things are obvious, but some things aren't.
Maybe the interference one needs to go, especially if you're going to have semi-automated, because that a computer's going to go binary. He's offside. Yeah, and maybe that's what you need to do. Don't be in front of the ball, and like the people sitting on the floor and all that sort of stuff. It eliminates that whole, because it's bullshit when you see City get one and we don't. Yeah, and you go, well, you're never going to have 1,000,000% all the circumstances are identical, but it's pretty close and they get it and we don't. So, okay, if you're in front of the ball, whether you're interfering with play or not, you're offside. Yeah. And then people know, and the machine knows. Yeah. And like I said, this all goes back to, let me put you on the 26th of May, 1999, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer fucking 1 hour it into the roof of the net. Yeah. We go, oh my God, the ball's in the back of the net, but is it a goal? I know. What? Fuck you. Get the flares out. Let's go. Yeah. That's what it needs to be. It's not, and Manchester United have won it. It'll be, and Solskjaer's put it in the back of the net. Give us about 90 minutes. Yeah.
And before, you could check the linesman as you run into the corner flag to celebrate, and
Sheringham does.
Yeah. He does. Yeah, he looks up, doesn't he, straight away. Whereas now, it is this thing of, you have to consider whether you want to celebrate. How certain are you that there's not going to be some foul in the build-up, a handball somewhere? Is he offside? Is someone playing him onside? Did someone block someone? You have to consider all these things in the moment of celebrating. Yeah. I just think that the problem that they have is,
like is a melee in a box, right? Yeah. Yes. And the ref doesn't give it.
You cannot celebrate.
The ref doesn't give it. And then you go, well, that probably could be considered a foul. You go, okay, well, it's not a clear or obvious error that the first glance the ref saw this, that it was, like, if someone takes out, I don't know, a double-headed axe and hits someone with it, we might pull that back.
But even that, the definition, clear and obvious, isn't a legal definition. No. That is just up to interpretation again. There's too much of a combination.
To me, but not you.
Yeah, there's too much of a combination of opinion and fact trying to sort of fight against each other, and it doesn't work. So we end up just having a different person's opinion at the expense of being able to celebrate.
Look at the Saka tackle on Bruno.
Yeah.
And then look at some other subsequent tackles. Some have been red, some have been yellow, some have been nothing. And you go, how?
Yeah.
How am I supposed to, like, how do I tell the kids? What's that meant to be?
Was it red or not? Was it Gusto, wasn't it, for Chelsea? He got sent off for a similar tackle. He got a bit of the ball, but then he goes through and bends, what was it, buckled the ankle, you said on the audio. And then you see the next day or the same day, the tackle against, it was Arsenal City, wasn't it? Who was it for City? Making those 2 tackles that should have been sent off. It was Kovacic.
Kovacic.
And the same thing, ankle buckles, it goes through him, does the same. And it's just like, I don't see the benefit. We're still seeing mistakes. But let's just look.
Do you remember when people said when VAR comes, we'll have nothing to talk about?
I know. And I just think if we just move it forward a little bit. So obviously we're now going down this path of refs releasing the audio. I think what we'll get towards is the audio being played live in the moment, like you see in rugby, because we're sort of walking toward that now anyway, aren't we? This transparency. Do you think there's a situation where they do take it back? They do say, actually, we're going to do a vote on this, or they get rid of VAR? Do you think that's actually a possibility?
Nah, I think someone's making money out of VAR being a thing, and when there's someone making money out of any decision, it usually stays. I don't think football's ever going back. I think UEFA like it, and I think there's some instances of it being effective. I think it needs to be more passive.
Yeah.
I think it almost needs to just run in the background. Like Dropbox on your computer. Like it's just there in the background until you need it. And I think it should flag up. Maybe the 4th official has a flag.
Yeah.
And maybe rather than it being straight in the guy's ear, maybe the 4th official goes and he has to come over and speak to him. Or they go, on-field decision is pretty valid for that. Yeah. Like, maybe he's took a bit of him off the ball there, but it's not egregious. But again, that's your interpretation of it. I might really hate that tackle. Yeah. And then I might go, well, that's clear and obvious. It's just fuck it off.
Yeah. And also, this other thing of the ref going to the monitor, this sort of like show, like sort of fake visual thing. Because what is it, once or twice in the hundreds of times they've gone to the monitor, they've disagreed with what the people in the VAR truck
Is it
said.
Really?
It's minuscule. So it's like, why do we do this sort of performative? Yeah. I'm going to go to the monitor.
When the linesman says offside, I don't quiz him about it. No. I don't ask to see a replay of it. I go, was it offside? And he goes, yes. And I go, cool.
I think that would be better if we see just there's 2 people in the VAR who get the replays. They're meant to be as qualified as the man on the pitch. This whole like overturning the ref has to be clear and obvious. I disagree with that because they still overturn him. He still goes to check it, and he always agrees that it was clear and obvious. So if they say it, he just gives it, and then you can blame the people in the truck if you have to. That speeds things up by 20, 30 seconds instantly.
Yeah. He gives a goal, and he goes, he's handballed that, and you go, has it? You go, yeah, strike it off. Yeah. Okay, no worries.
Trust them. That's another, like, that instantly takes off. Jogging over, watching it through, that can take off a minute.
Are they doing the, like you said, the performative element of watching the screen so we all understand what happened, rather than like the referee telepathically going, no, that's not a goal. But yeah, maybe if the audio is published, that you can hear the on-field decision of he goes goal, and then as they're walking back, you hear VAR go, hang on mate, don't start again. Nah, he's offside. He's offside. Free kick. Yeah. Home.
Because the other thing is, if you go back to the clear and obvious thing, if it is truly clear and obvious, there's no point in sending the ref to the screen, because if he looks at it and goes, no, you're wrong, then it wasn't clear and obvious. So if it's truly clear and obvious, the screen is superfluous anyway. Yeah. So there's a start. Thicker, big fat lines.
Fat lines for all. Say it with me.
Fat lines for all. That's the motto.
That's what we're going behind. Fat lines for all. Make it passive, or fuck it off. Yeah. Now, unfortunately, I think the fat lines is probably very easy to implement, and I think it's actually the most sensible thing you could implement. Yeah. Margin of error, benefit of doubt. Yeah. Like, if you're looking at like, was it a Raheem Sterling one where it was literally like a bulge in his armpit, which might have even been his shirt rather than his body?
There's a few of them. There was like a Mane one as well, wasn't there? Where it was like, the line was, where does his bicep meet his shoulder muscle? Like, that's the line we're trying to find. And if you've got a longer sleeve shirt, you get that. If you get, like, that's just too precise.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And you're like, okay, so his arm is 0.5 of a millimetre in front of that guy's shoulder.
And that is considered an unfair advantage.
But 99% of their bodies are level.
I know. Yeah. We need to rethink what is considered an unfair advantage. Fat lines, no screens.
Greedy ones.
And if possible, just get rid of the whole thing. I'm glad that, because part of me was thinking, because we haven't spoke about this much, part of me was thinking you'd be like, nah, I like it. But it's just crap, innit? I don't know anyone that likes it.
One of the best things about managing at the level that I manage at?
Yeah.
A goal's a goal.
I know.
And like we get to just fucking score and cheer and tell people to fuck off. Whereas with VAR, like it genuinely has taken the edge off of live sport.
I mean, and when you're talking about that is the most sacred thing in football, being able to celebrate.
Do you know what it's like? So to explain to someone who's maybe not quite getting it, but I'm sure everyone watching this on a football channel surely has got it, but I think it's worth putting out there. Mm-hmm. It's like, do you know when you're watching a game and you might be watching it, maybe it's a 3 o'clock kickoff and it's not quite legal means you're watching it from, and you get the alert on your phone and then you see it go in. Yeah. That's what VAR is doing on the other end.
Every goal.
Yeah.
Every goal feels like you've already seen it. Or you just can't celebrate because something's coming in, and it's just shit. Right, that's going to be all from us. Thank you for joining us. Let us know your thoughts on VAR in the comments. It's one of the things. It's just going to keep rumbling on. Hopefully it'll get better. Hopefully they get rid of it. But if not, get your thoughts in the comments below as well. What can we change? How can we make it better? Fat lines, no screens, semi-automated. There's a start. What else can we do? Thank you for joining us. We'll see you in a bit.